All right, so there you go. We are live. So obviously want to start off by thanking Lexi so much for inviting me here to be here. And really, especially because we met tonight in person for the first time or on Zoom, for trusting me with your community. I know how important they are to you and how much you value them. So it does not get missed on me for a minute what an honor this is to be here and to be able to speak into your group. Um, Again, because my clientele is mostly women as well, but just the human population in general, I think it's so important and so obvious that what you're doing truly matters to you. And I love that you recognize that where are other resources that I can get to help. Um, and for those of you that are showing up live and those of you that are going to be watching the recording, I want to acknowledge you because showing up for conversations like this is not a small deal. There are probably tons of other things that you could be doing that are requiring your attention, asking for your time, and you chose to be here for you. So that's like step one of what we're going to be talking about today is that showing up for yourself and investing and putting your time, your energy into you. So again, like as my daughter says, clock it, but applauding you for being here. It shows that you want that. You want that support. You want that energy. You want more alignment into what you're doing. And I know what it's like to put so much energy into your health journey, your weight journey, your, well, yeah, fitness journey, all three of those. And to want to make sure that it sticks, it's sustainable, it's joyful, it's aligned, it works for you. And that's all what we're going to be talking about today. So it's not about giving you more to-dos, what you aren't doing enough of, what you should do better. That's one of my favorite conversations to change is that more, better, different. And I'm just going to see if I can actually see some faces if I expand this. There we are. There, I can see some. Um, that more, better, different. And I love being able to change that conversation that we're not talking here about what you're not doing good enough, what you need to try better. It's really about what's the psychology of it? Why does change sometimes feel hard? You know that when you're doing the best you can and you end up putting your head on the pillow at the end of the night and it just doesn't feel good enough. That's what we're going to talk about changing today. So, and how to make this change really sustainable. So for most of my life, I had a yes, a complicated relationship with health, my weight, food, and much like probably many of you, I tried it all, right? Plans, programs, what was hype and hip and all of the fads going on. Little bursts of motivation where I was like, this time I've got it. And then motivation fading and starting again on Monday. So that was one of the reasons I really wanted to do this when Lexi was reaching out and trying and not trying, reaching out and asking for people to come present on mindset for her clients because I was like, I am one of your clients. Like I am that person that is committing to this and that invests in herself and is trying to find the thing that will work. So, I was good for a while, then I'd fall off, try harder, be more, better, different. Maybe if I tried this, why can't I do it? Why isn't it working? And then somebody said something to me that just gonna move this bar so I can switch slides. Somebody said something to me that really made the difference. And I'm not going to move that. This is since it changed everything. Your current lifestyle does not support your desired goals. When people say something and you're like, and it resonates somewhere, but you don't like what you hear, so you don't really respond positively to it. That was me. I was like, what do you even mean? Like, do you even know what I'm going through? Do you know how much I have on my plate? Like, again, because we tend to hear it as you're saying I'm not doing good enough. This isn't working. And so that's really what I took that to mean. And what I realized is what they were saying was that my life, my stress, my schedule, my emotional load, the way I put everybody else before my own needs, all of the stuff I kept saying yes to was structuring my life in a way that made it unsustainable. And it's that quote of like what you say yes to, you're saying no to something else. And what I realized is in saying yes to all of the things that I had on my plate, whether they seem justifiable or not, I was saying no to myself, no to my health goals, no to my commitment, no to feeling better, no to feeling like I mattered. And yet at that moment, it wasn't really available to me to see what could change, what could shift. Because I was like, what do you want me to do? I'm a part of all of this. So sometimes just enough to hear something, even though you don't know what to do about it, is enough. So hopefully you'll take some of those away today. And the thing that's important to know is that most people don't struggle with their health goals because they don't care. What we struggle with is that our life isn't built in a way that supports them. So I should start off with saying, my name is Brandy Douglas Corcoran, and I'm founder of Finding Self Coach. I help women, especially moms, build lives that actually feel good to live again. And my work really focuses on mindset and identity shifts that make real change sustainable. Transformation, not to use like a catch. Oh, we've got somebody waiting to come in. A catch term, but really it is about shifting things in the way that you see the world so that behaviors and things are different. So go to the next screen. So again, most people don't struggle with their health goals because they don't know what to do or they don't care. They struggle because their life isn't structured to support them yet. So Lexi helps you with the what and the how of your health, which again tells me that you are the type of person that invests in yourself. And today I'm here to support you with, just shrink this. I'm here to support you with the why it sometimes feels hard and how to shift that. So what's really important to note is that when identity and beliefs change, the consistency becomes easier. So again, this isn't about telling you like, okay, if you get up at 5, there's no one formula. Yes, there's behavior that support things. There's no one formula or it would work for everybody and we'd all be doing it. But there are certain mindset and identity beliefs and strategies that will help make those behaviors consistent, sustainable, help make you committed to what you're up to. So I want you to think about this honestly. The healthiest version of you woke up inside your current life tomorrow. What would feel the hardest about your current schedule and lifestyle? And this is recorded. So if you want to come back to, if you want to screenshot this, if you want to take a moment to jot some things down, feel free. What would feel the hardest about your current schedule or lifestyle? Is it the stress you're under? And again, don't hear this from like, what am I not doing well enough? This isn't the point. The point is like, let's pull it out. Let's see what's happening. What would feel the hardest about your current schedule and lifestyle? Is it the stress? Is it responsibilities that you have? Is it the pace at which you go? Is it the mental load? Welcome to life, right? The expectations you have of yourself, your beliefs, your friend group. If you have some ideas, jot it into the chat, or if you have questions about that. And my big question with that is, where are you on the list of priorities? And the reason I wanted to start with this question is I want you to see this as, this isn't about you needing more discipline. This is about us discovering what in your environment, internal and external, needs more shifting and support. Just you wouldn't drive somewhere that you didn't know and didn't have a plan to go. That's what we're doing here, is that we are seeing like, where are we at, so that you can build that roadmap to like, what do I have to change? What do I have to plug in to be the healthiest version, the happiest version of myself? Because health is everything. So there's 3 key points I want to start with. The first one is that health struggles are rarely about knowledge, and knowledge helps. I mean that in the sense that a lot of us know what to do, and especially this group, because you're working with someone that knows what to do. It's about the fact that consistency is hard when we're overwhelmed. And I wish I could see you, because I would say like, who can agree with that? I certainly can. And then the number 2 point is that burnout blocks healthy choices. When we're in survival mode because of stress, because of overwhelm, because of mental load, what happens is that we move from our prefrontal cortex, our front brain, whereas the higher cognitive thinking, the long-term consequencing, that bigger functionality, we move from that into the hindbrain, which is our survival brain. And in there, it isn't about these like, oh, self-care, oh, that would be lovely. Ooh, don't eat that because you care about this. It's about how do I get through my day? And I was just saying this to somebody. I don't know who can relate. Again, I wish I could see you. Um, but I was like, oh, I need to say that I'm the type of person who doesn't do BLTs, licks, bites, licks, taste, because that is what sinks my health goals from coming to fruition. And it's like, but then at the same breath, I recognize that what sounds like I need to focus on a behavior change is actually when I look at that behavior, I'm like, I'm doing that because I'm exhausted by the afternoon because I haven't slept, because I haven't gotten to bed in time, because. And so when you really look at what is the reason for that behavior, you know where to get to work on. So again, burnout blocks healthy choices. When we're in survival mode, we don't care much about self-care. And then the third key point is sustainable health requires an identity change. And this is so fundamental. My favorite moment in working with my clients is when they say, I don't even know who I am anymore. And I'm like, yay. Not because who they were is bad or wrong, but because they're saying that in the sense of who they are now is the person that they don't recognize, because it's the person that can make the things happen. So when sustainable health happens when your beliefs match who you are. So you say, I'm the type of person who, and we'll get to that. So next one is why your health goals fail. Health goals, again, don't fail because people don't care. And again, I wish I could see you, because I'm sure that you guys will agree. It's not that I don't care. When you're overloaded, exhausted, and putting everyone else first, your brain defaults to survival. Again, not self-care. It's not willpower. It's not discipline. It's not more knowledge, because you guys have access to that. It fails because your life structure doesn't support you yet. So it's actually an identity and nervous system problem, which I hope you take that as good news. It's like, it's not a character flaw. Something isn't just inherently broken with you. You're not just the type of person who can't. It fails because you don't have the structure and identity to support what you want. So this is often a loop that people find themselves in goals in life, but particularly we're talking here about your health goals. The self-abandonment loop. I call it the restart cycle. So your stress, right? You get the stress going on again. We're in the survival brain, puts us into survival mode. In survival mode, it's all about a quick relief. It's meeting our immediate needs because we're just trying to get through the moment. It's convenience. And then with that, what happens is we feel guilty, we feel shame, we make it about us, like, what is wrong with me? What do I need to do different, be more of, do better? And the worst part that I see with my clients is that it turns inward. So it's not just like, oh, there's a structure in my life that isn't working. It is, I'm a failure. I can never do it. This doesn't work. And that they start to make a decision about themselves. I'm just the type of person who, about the world. I'm on my own here. What am I supposed to do? I'm carrying all the weight of it. And other people. Nobody cares. Nobody's there for me. I'm doing the doomsday one. Maybe it's not that bad for you, but that's typically what people tend to do, is turn it inward and make these really hard decisions. And when these decisions are made, the hardest part about that is then it becomes a belief. So it's not just a thought you're having. Now you're like, I'm on my own. I can never do this. Nobody cares. And then, or not the type of person. And then what happens is when we believe something, we see it. Our brains seek evidence for what we believe. So now I'm reinforcing those beliefs and those thoughts. So that's when you get really stuck in a situation. Right. So I'm just going to briefly, oopsies, skip ahead. I'm just going to briefly touch on this because it's a pretty intense concept, but I wanted to touch base with those of you. Has anyone ever, what we call self-sabotage? You made great progress. Maybe in working with Lexi, you're like, oh, I'm doing so well, I'm showing up. And then something slips. You're like, oh, why did I stop doing the behavior that works? What happened here? And what that is that our bodies like our brains, our bodies like homeostasis. So we like it to be predictable, certainty, and stability. And what that just speaks to, and again, won't get too much into this, but what that speaks to is that when you make change on one level, AKA here, the physical level, without shifting and bringing up your mental, your beliefs about yourself, your emotional, how you treat yourself, your self-care, what you say about yourself, and your spiritual, your connection to something more, you pull back. So even change, it feels good that you're like, oh, yes, like, look at me, I'm feeling so good. It's like, and I kind of caught this a little while ago as I've been shifting. I didn't tell you, but like I said, I relate to that journey. So I've recently released, I call it release. I don't want to lose it and find it, 30 pounds. And just more so what's important to me is shifted so much of who I am, the way I show up in life for myself in health and fitness and eating nutrition goals. And I caught myself, I saw a picture of myself where my face looked thinner and I went, I don't recognize that person. And what would seem like, well, yeah, great, you're working hard. There was an unsettling experience with that. It was like, well, I don't know that person. So mentally, emotionally, I don't know what to feel about her. I don't know and that is typically when people tend to pull back and they sabotage. They stop working out. They eat things that they've committed not to or that aren't good for their body. And they start to put back on that weight or stopped working out and making their body be what they're shooting for it to be their goals. And so what happens is that you tend to fall into this cycle that pulls you back. So what you want to do when you're making change is to make sure you're addressing it on all levels. And that's how it becomes more sustainable that way. So I'm just going to focus on 3 key shifts for sustainable health today so that you can really take away, like, what are the key areas I need to focus on? So the first one is awareness. We can't change what we don't acknowledge. Emotional mastery. This is because a calm nervous system makes better choices. And identity. And I talked a bit about this already, but who do you say you are? Because you will live into that. So awareness. I want you to, and again, you can take a screenshot of this, you can jot down some ideas now, but what is actually draining my energy? So when I think about like that 4 o'clock time when I'm grabbing the crackers, I'm grabbing something sweet, what is actually draining my energy? So if it's like that, begin with end in mind. What isn't working in my life in this area? Next one is asking yourself, where am I constantly overriding my own needs? So where am I constantly ignoring what I need? Like for me, a classic one that I'm still working on, total transparency, is bedtime. Is I'm like, I'm getting to bed by 8:39 tonight, which seems so indulgent. um, and then so-and-so needs this, and that kid needs that, and mom, can you lay with me for 5 minutes? And then I'm like, oh, just one more task. Maybe if I set up the things for the morning, throw this last load of laundry in. Oh, right, I just have to quickly reply to these emails. So where are you constantly overriding your own needs that is making things not work? And then the third question I want you to ask, and be willing to be real about this, because sometimes we don't want to admit it, but you can't change what you don't acknowledge. So when you don't admit it, you're not fooling anyone because this is all about you and your journey. So what part of my life needs more support right now? It doesn't mean you know how. I just want you to answer the what. What part of my life needs more support? The second pillar is that of sustainable health is the emotional mastery. So this one is a really big one because, like I said, when your nervous system is overloaded, you move into survival mode. When you're in survival mode, we don't make choices out of our prefrontal cortex. We're just trying to get through the day. We're just trying to, survive. So again, I hope many of you can relate to that. I want you to think about the last time you made a health choice that you regretted. I want you to really think about and try to bring this question into your daily life when you're either making that choice or tortured by wanting to make that choice, whether to skip the workout, hit the snooze button, grab those crackers at the 4 p.m. Drop. What are you actually feeling? And if you're looking back into that, what were you actually feeling? Exhaustion, stress, overwhelm, frustration, loneliness, boredom, fear, sadness, resentment, There may be ones that aren't on here that you notice that you feel. So I want you to really start to, and again, not to do anything about it just yet, but what am I actually feeling? Like, if I'm honest, one of the biggest things that shocked me when I did this, looked at like those moments where I made those choices I regretted or that weren't aligned with what I say I wanted. Um, what I was shocked to find is I was like, oh yeah, I eat for sadness, I eat for boredom, I eat for stress. But what I actually noticed was I also, when I'm like really happy or excited, or it was like I had this range of emotions I was allowed, and I had to do something to cope on either end of them. And so that was like a really key moment of awareness to me on like, how am I going to manage, not just if I'm having those hard emotions, but also if I'm like really vibrating and excited, something is triggered in that needs support. And that's how I want you to hear it. What in me needs support? But you can't know how to deliver on that unless you know what you're feeling. And I want you to see that that moment probably wasn't about food. It was probably about emotion. Emotional mastery starts when we notice the feeling without judging ourselves for it. So sometimes we're not willing to admit what we're really feeling, um, because, and I'm hesitating because I'm like, there's a funny story I noticed, because we're judging. I shouldn't feel that way. Well, that's dumb. Well, what am I supposed to do? I didn't ask you what you're supposed to do. I asked you what you're feeling. And I just want you to stop at that. Like, just be willing to acknowledge it. So I giggle because this is where I'm glad I can see you. One of the things I saw in those moments where I was making unsupportive choices was when I was mad at my spouse. And I was like, forget him. He's not going to have a hot girlfriend, fiance, whatever. And I was like, oh, but I had to be willing to admit that, to be like, okay, so what there is to do is deal with the stress between us right now and having a conversation. So that was kind of a surprise. I felt like a little like petulant toddler. So I was like, I'm going to eat this because Cookie, he doesn't get a hot partner. It's like so silly. But again, I don't judge it, just feel it. When the nervous system is overwhelmed, it chooses relief. So I just need to survive this moment. I don't care about that wedding I'm trying to lose weight for, or the diabetes I'm fighting, or that's too long term. In that moment, I just need relief. So again, it's really important that we support the nervous system. When we bring awareness and acceptance to what we're feeling, the nervous system settles and suddenly we have access to better choices again. So in that, you're probably already going, okay, I can see there's some emotions that I need to find a home for, address. Identity. So it's the third pillar. Healthy habits don't stick because of willpower, which is what the common default conversation is. People are like, oh, you just need discipline, you just need a habit, you need pattern. And yes, all that supports it. But if your identity doesn't support it, none of those strategies will be sustainable. So healthy habits stick when they match who you believe you are. And this is really key because some people are like, well, what do you mean? I'm just like, I am who I am. But it's really important to take some time to be like, who do I say I am? Oh, I'm never that. I'm not the kind of person. Those kind of conversations that you have with yourself is what I'm talking about. So, not I need to eat better, but I'm someone who takes care of herself. That's an identity shift that supports your health and nutrition goals, your lifestyle goals. And that's when behavior and habits actually stick, is when you start to say, I was laughing because I have a whole morning protocol to support my health in the morning. And I recently went away and I packed my little container of apple cider vinegar and my lemon and my electrolytes and my supplements. And people are laughing. They're like, how old are you? Because it was a lot. And a double bag of apple cider vinegar, like who puts that in their suitcase? First of all, that was risky. But it was like, this is who I am. So of course I would bring it. One of the first things I pack is my runners. And it's not a consideration. It's because it's not a behavior I'm focused on. It's like, oh, yes, of course, I'm the kind of person who works out while I'm away because that's what makes me feel good. It's how I manage my stress. It's the things you tell yourself that make the difference. So when you start seeing yourself as someone, it keeps moving in my way, but when you start seeing yourself as somebody who has these habits, the behavior comes more natural. I can't see what I actually wrote there, but that's okay. So for sustainability, you don't just build habits, you build the version of you those habits belong to. I love this, and I'll explain it a bit more. The other thing that really matters, so it's those three key things: awareness, emotional mastery, and your identity. The other thing that really matters is your life structure. So I talked about in the beginning, but is your life supporting your health goals? So again, that quote that person said, well, your life isn't supporting the goals you have. I was like, it's actually funny. That wasn't said to me. Somebody said it to them, and I really took it to heart. Probably meant to. So where is your life not supporting your health goals right now? I want you to, again, be willing to be aware. Be honest. It means nothing about you. You're not good or bad, right or wrong. If you see something that doesn't work, some patterns, some habits, or you see something you don't want to change just yet, it doesn't make you wrong. I think back to my health journey and probably really started working with somebody around 2006. 2008 was somebody who I really did listen to what they were saying and try to implement. And I remember she was like something about vegetables and she said something about me having dip with my vegetables. She's like, well, do you need dip with your vegetables? And I literally teared up. I was like, why would she want to take my dip? It's like, and then the first time somebody told me about intermittent fasting, I again cried about some things about food. Because I was like, why would I not eat? Why would I starve myself? And so I think of that and I think now where somebody said, oh, do you want like do this 36-hour fast to support like you're just away in the inflammation? And I was like, oh, I love fasting. And I heard myself. And again, that moment of like, who am I? I'm the type of person that does things like that. Whereas when it was first presented, I was like, why would I not have dip? So I want you to recognize that it's okay to be honest with yourself about where you are, even if you have no intention of changing it just yet. Okay. But if you look at my life, what is not supporting my health goals right now? Look at your schedule, look at your boundaries with people, look at your sleep, emotional and mental load. Again, well, okay, Brandy, great. I have a big emotional and mental load. I'm a mom, I work, okay, I didn't say you did anything about it. You don't have to feel bad about it. You just certainly have to recognize it. Not have to, you don't have to do anything. Certainly makes a difference if you recognize it. And then I want you to look at who do you spend time with? Because you've probably heard it, but proximity is power. If I'm hanging out with people that it's about, drinking every weekend or skipping workouts, or they just talk about like, oh gosh, wine every night or whatever it is. If that it's not bad or wrong, but if it doesn't align with my goals, there's a sense of like not fitting in or a sense of like, oh, I fall off the wagon when I'm with them, or doesn't mean you're going to change your friends. I just want you to recognize, who do I spend time with? Does that support my goals? And then sometimes part of why we don't experience lasting change is because we're trying to grow in environments that still reward the old version of us. We find ourselves surrounded by habits, conversations, and expectations that keep pulling us back to who we used to be. So supportive environments help those habits. I want you to ask yourself, and screenshot this as well, but what would the person who has the lifestyle and commitment to their health journey believe, say, and do? So what would the person who has the lifestyle and commitment to their health journey think, believe, say, and do? And that is part of, back here, for sustainability, you don't build habits, you build the version of you who those habits belong to. So this becomes a really important question. Well, who is that person? What kind of things do they think? What do they believe? What do they say to themselves? What do they say about health? What do they say about workouts? And what do they do? And I want you to ask yourself, if your healthiest self walked into your kitchen tomorrow morning, and this is about beginning with end in mind. This is about creating that vision of your healthiest self. If your healthiest self walked into your kitchen tomorrow morning, what would look different? Not just like what would she eat, but how rushed is she? What was her sleep like? How's she talking to herself first thing in the morning? What did she do the night before to set up the schedule in the morning? Who else is contributing to the household that day? What is she allowing for treatment? Is she jumping right into her phone and work? And I want you to spend some time, so please like screenshot this or whatever, but I want you to spend some time writing out what I would call your ideal vision of the healthiest you. So who is that person? What does she think, believe, say, and do? And this is what you need to do. You don't need to do anything. This is what would help you reclaim that energy. If you find that there are a lot of, okay, Brandy, great, there's a lot of things in my life that aren't supporting my goals. Remove what drains you, restructure what overwhelms you, and prioritize what sustains you. So if I know that this is what makes me feel good, my morning routine, workouts, it's my Prozac, I call it, that's what I'm going to prioritize. I remember when my mom was, she passed away with pancreatic cancer when she was put into palliative, and I would go to BC to be with her as much as possible. I was working out and she came in and she asked me, she'd get into these like, yeah, she'd get very hyper focused on certain tasks being done. And she came out to the garage and I was halfway through my workout and she said, I want you to come grab this thing from the top shelf. And I was like, okay, I will do it when I'm done. I have 15 minutes or 20 minutes left. And she's like, no, come now. And I said, no, I'm working out right now. And she huffed and shut the door. And I was like, did I just say no to my dying mother to finish my workout? That was so weird and so foreign. But I told myself that the only way I was going to survive that period of what we called the gift of time, knowing she was passing, was if I took the best care of myself. And for me, that meant no alcohol, no sugar. I needed to manage my emotions, and those are two things that affect them. I needed my workout so that I could be healthy and like get out, get the endorphins, get my adrenaline. So really, it's okay to prioritize what sustains you. Restructure what overwhelms you and remove what drains you. And then how do you remove? How do you restructure? Delegate, delete, eliminate, and automate. Who do I need to ask? What do I just need to let go of? What can I automate? Like, what can somebody else do for me? And then I want you to take on this motto: just because you can doesn't mean you should. That'll be the best motto you ever take on. And I want you in closing to think about, if you support yourself a year from now, if you support yourself differently, what is now possible? Or what if nothing changes? You keep doing the same thing the way you've always done it. And then if you write nothing else down today, or put in your phone or send it, text it to yourself, I want you to think of what, based on this, is one small shift that I can make today or this week. One small shift I can make. So if this resonated with you and you were like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, it fits, there are some other resources and next steps for you there. So we have the Finding Self Coach on Instagram, Facebook, and I post a lot of free content there. I am now posting even more. It was a big out of my comfort zone to be on all the time, but I realized that I can't make the difference I want to make if I don't show up. So there's lots of good content there for you. And it's just Finding Self Coach. You can email me. Anyone who wants, I am doing a draw. I told Lexi I'd be happy to do this for her clients. I'm doing a draw for one person for a free autograph book. Somewhere back there you can see, and one free one-to-one coaching session. So if you identified something and want to go a little bit deeper, we can do that in your coaching session. So if you email Brandy at findingselfcoach.com, I will do a draw for everybody who emails me by, what is today, Wednesday? Let's say, well, by the end of Friday, for some of you who are watching this later. But by the end of Friday, I'm going to do a draw for the book and for a coaching session. And then this should be a link. If you click on this Finding Self Coach check-in, this is a little questionnaire check-in that helps you realize, where am I not showing up for myself? What could be the next step? And how healthy am I in the areas of mental and emotional wellness? So I just want to end with this. Before we finish, I want you to think about something honestly. Nothing changes if life keeps moving at the same pace. If you keep putting yourself last, that's making an assumption about your life, but down on the list, where will your energy, health, and happiness be a year from now? Not from fear. I'm not trying to scare you, but I just want you to really think about it. Most women aren't struggling because they don't care. Most humans aren't struggling because they don't care. They're struggling because they've learned to survive by carrying everything else, everyone else. But here's the other side of that truth. Imagine a year from now if you start supporting yourself differently, not perfectly, not dramatic changes, just consistently, just in the areas that matter. Imagine waking up with more energy, feeling calmer in your body, making choices from self-respect instead of survival and exhaustion, feeling proud of how you showed up that day, that moment for your life. The future doesn't come from being harder on yourself. You can't shame yourself into success. It comes from finally deciding, I matter enough to be supported too. Your healthiest self isn't someone you have to become. She's the version of you finally stop leaving behind. And this is one of my favorite quotes. It's a Marianne Williamson quote of, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us the most. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're here for a reason. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are born to manifest the glory that is within us. It is in everyone. And this is the best part. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others the permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And for those of you, particularly that are moms or parents, I want you to think about that rule that we can't tell them, we have to show them. So your commitment to a healthy lifestyle, not just physical, but mental, emotional, spiritual, healthy lifestyle, it isn't just for you. It is for the people that are watching. And again, that's not just your kids, it's your friends, it's your parents. Like you don't know who you could be inspiring. And that's why I love that. Like it unconsciously gives others a permission to do the same, like the example that you get to be. So I will stop with that. And I'm going to just stop the recording so that people feel comfortable if they have any questions. And